Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Battlefront II Modded. I am Adrien, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the map Geonosis Assault on the Hills. What I'm doing right now is I'm kind of going through all of the maps and mods, I suppose, that I've ever made, under the name Xavius, for those of you wondering. But yeah, I feel like I have the most interesting commentary on the maps that I actually made myself, because I'm a lot more familiar with, obviously, the design process of them and how they came to be. And I figured I'd start with the very first map I ever released, although technically not the very first map I ever made, because I actually made a couple of maps on my own before I ever actually, officially released anything. And I don't think any portion of those maps survived to this day. One of them looked kind of like Kashyyyk, and it had a lot of hills and stuff, and several different props that I was just kind of experimenting with, how to place props, because I wanted to make sure I knew, what I was doing before I actually tried to, release a map proper. But then this map, in its original incarnation, this is actually the second version that was released about a year after it was actually, the first version was released, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, the first version was announced on Geonosis, the modding forums, back in June of 2016. What did I say? Not 2016, 2006. So yeah, it's been probably just about 11 years since that map was originally announced. And then I think it was released not too long after it was announced, because it was a fairly simple map. It was basically, it looked like this, although a little bit more simplistic, because it was the earliest version of this map. It is basically, just a big open field with lots and lots of units. And I figured we don't really need to play that original version. I kind of thought about showcasing it, but just playing this one is going to take long enough, because, the reinforcement counts are high and all of that good stuff, because it is, a big battle. And, when I first, started making mods for Battlefront 2, that was really what I was into, was making the biggest battle possible, because I was like, oh, that's cool, because, the default game, the battles don't get very big, because you have a unit cap of 16 or 32 if you end up raising it in the settings. So I was like, yeah, I want to make big, huge battles, the Battle of Geonosis, and that's kind of what this is. Not really meant to represent any particular part of the movie, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, more just meant to be a big open field to kind of represent the whole battle. And of course we got, the ATTEs, we got some tanks, although those weren't really in the movies. I don't know, not really canon, not really meant to be canon, but that's okay. And then there's a Jedi unit you can play as, and I believe Jedi will spawn kind of as like local units that you can't control. So I think you can kind of see, like some of the Jedi, from the movies, like maybe like Shakti, Kit Fisto, those kind of characters. I'm not sure, or maybe like Obi-Wan, Anakin. I don't know if we really had any custom units or not. And obviously, Kit Fisto, Shakti, all of them would have been custom. I don't think there really existed any public models of Kit Fisto, now that I think of it, at the time. So yeah, it probably like the default characters from the game, like Aayla Secura and Ki-Adi-Mundi and all those kind of characters. I think they show up as non-playable units that you can see on the battlefield here and there. Yeah, there's Obi-Wan over there, so yeah, they do show up, but they are the default heroes. But yeah, this is basically just a big, huge map. And I'll try and showcase more of it, because we're kind of just fighting up this hill right now, trying to capture this command post over here. Toss a grenade in there. It's just a droideka, but he put his shields up in time. And yeah, I think I mentioned there's one playable Jedi unit. In the original map, there was a playable Jedi unit who was basically like a self-insert character, and I think his name was actually Xavius, though at the time I released that map, my username on the Geonosis forums was actually Darth_Maul. So technically it wasn't, just my username. It was a made-up character, and I eventually decided to change my modding name to Xavius to be a little bit more original. Because if I just went by Darth_Maul, I mean, that's way too common of a name. And, I don't know, even with the name Xavius, like, there are actually other members of the Battlefront 2 community. I know I got mixed up with someone who played quite a bit of online Battlefront 2 in some sort of clan, and somebody asked if that was me, and no, it wasn't. There's another Xavius out there, and there's probably more than one other Xavius out there, but that's just how it goes. It's not, like a name I claim credit for, whereas when I switched over to the name Adrien, that's a name that you're not going to find anywhere else, I don't believe, because I kind of basically just made it up. But anyways, enough about names and such. We're actually losing this battle, even though we did capture an extra command post. They haven't pushed up here any further. Yeah, and in the original version of this mod, this map as well, I think the reinforcement counts are up in the thousands, so it took even longer to finish this map. And then, of course, in this version of the map as well, there was an issue in the original version because I upped the unit caps. I think you could have 300 units on the field at a time, but once you start getting that high, you can start getting bugs. Specifically, one side will be unselectable. So Team 1, which is the Republic, was playable, but if you tried to select Team 2, the CIS, when you have more than 300 units, and you try and spawn as a CIS unit, then you'll automatically be spawned in instead as a Republic unit on the Republic side, because the CIS is unplayable, or you might just not be able to switch. I can't quite remember exactly what happens when you have that bug. But basically that just happens. I'm not sure why, but it does happen when you have too many units on the field. So I lowered the unit cap. It's probably like 200 or 250. I don't know the exact number where it starts having issues, but I just noticed that I think once you get like up above 300, it starts having some problems. There's Mace Windu right there. And yeah, I think this map does actually include, you know, a whole custom like side to it. So like it includes the whole Republic team in the files, even though I didn't really change much of the Republic team, although I might be mistaken on that. Because I know that there's a custom Jedi unit that we saw, the Jedi Padawan there, who's technically just like the Jedi in the default, you know, the Order 66 mission in the campaign, but his lightsaber is a slightly different color, and it's actually almost silver, and I don't know why that is. I think I must have changed that for some reason. It seems a little weird. It seems like he'd be better with a blue lightsaber, but oh well, that's just how that goes. And why does this guy have thermal detonators twice? If you see me, I'm scrolling through my secondary weapon there, and he actually has 2 sets of 2 thermal detonators instead of just having 4. So that's a little odd. I wonder if this is a unit that's in the default game that just wasn't set up properly, that I just ended up loading in, because I'm not sure if we actually have a custom side, because I didn't check the files when I downloaded this mod. But yeah, this map is definitely, the second version is definitely an improvement over the first one, as I've said, and I really don't feel I need to show the original version, just as I mentioned, because there are just so many things that got fixed later on. And there's Ki-Adi-Mundi over there. Like local units spawning in. In the original, you just had one self-insert character called Xavius, who had a red lightsaber for some reason, kind of looked like a Sith, but basically he was, I think he was invincible actually, because he had like health regen and all that kind of stuff, because I was like, oh yeah, it's a big battle. He also didn't require any points to unlock, so you could use it for the beginning. I was like, oh yeah, it's a big battle, I want to use a unit that's like invincible so I can have more fun and not die easily. So yeah, you know, at the time, you know, it was 2006, I was probably like 13 when I made that map originally, and I would have been like 14 when this version released, so, you know, that was a long time ago, you know. Like, I always look back at these maps and I think, you know, what would I have done differently if I made this map today? I mean, it's kind of irrelevant, because there's no way I would have continued modding for, you know, like 11 years or so, because it just got boring after a while, and I just didn't have the inspiration to do it anymore. Although, you know, going back and playing all these maps, I do kind of feel like going back and like revisiting one at some point. I mean, I don't have the source files anymore. Those are lost to computer changes long ago. But if I could recreate some of the maps that I had made, I think that'd be pretty neat. But I don't know. It's possible. I mean, I've kind of considered possibly just doing like a series as a part of the Battlefront II modded series where I actually build a map on camera, and I kind of just show how that process goes for those of you who are not familiar with it. It would, you know, kind of double as like a kind of tutorial, and also kind of be a just a showcase for those of you just curious how the mod process goes. So yeah, we are finishing up here. This might end up being a shorter video. I was expecting it to go longer because I remember the original version of this map that, oh, that's Geonosis. Killing the Geonosians and the other local units like the Jedi is not gonna help you at all, because they count as local units and they won't reduce your opponent's reinforcement count. But anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, the original version of this map takes much longer to play because the reinforcement counts are up in the thousands. So yeah, I was kind of accounting for that, and I thought we would end up playing this a lot longer, but it's probably not lasting too much longer than a standard conquest mode on a default map. And these Spider Walkers are probably Geonosians, so we probably shouldn't be bothering with them. Oh, we also have Dwarf Spider Walkers, which is a vehicle that you can get into as a CIS, or I guess technically you can get into them as the Republic as well if you really want to. And okay, so there's a couple other CIS guys. We got to try and finish them off. They've only got 10 guys left, so we should be able to hit a couple more. That's a Geonosian. Don't want to bother with him. Yeah, this could take a while. Well, there's another droid up there. We may not end up losing all our guys before they lose their last 10. If I can hit this guy. But yeah, so we might end up losing this one, but that's okay because I did, you know, successfully show off the map. And there's a whole bunch of Jedi over there. Holy cow! They're trying to attack that Spider Walker, but they can't because they don't have ranged weapons at all. Do they not have saber throw? Because I would think they'd be using saber throw on it or something like that. And we're getting surrounded by Geonosians, but you know, if I end up dying, then we can just finish the mission there, and that's okay. So yeah, there's quite a few maps of mine that I want to get into. Some of them I don't know if I can actually locate anymore, especially like my second map, which is called Tatooine City. So I'll probably not be doing it in order because I got to see if I can locate that map at all. Because it wasn't really given a wide release. It was just released on Game Toast, whereas you know most of my other mods were released on Game Toast as well as Star Wars Battlefront files, which was kind of the big hub for mod releases at the time. Whereas Game Toast is more the big hub for works in progresses and modding help and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be able to track down some of the mods that weren't released on Battlefront files, because I don't really know. I mean, especially since that was my second map, and it wasn't really anything special, so I'm not sure if anybody really would have held on to it, and I know I don't have it in any of my files anywhere. And there's also some maps I never released, which obviously I don't know if I can get a hold of at all, but if I can, I'd like to play them and possibly, you know, give them a release of some sort. I mean, I'm not going to have the source files, but I might still possibly have the actual add-on folder file for some of the maps that I never actually finished, so I could possibly, you know, kind of release those, play them on camera, and then give you guys a download link if you're interested. And we did end up losing there, so that's okay. But yeah, so the next few episodes we're going to be going through, I'm going to try and play every single one of my maps that I can actually locate for you guys, so you can get some, so it's kind of like developer commentary, and also kind of a retrospective kind of thing. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode of Star Wars Battlefront II Modded.